When you've been exercising and dieting, but you're not seeing results, the most common feedback in forums and from fitness gurus online is that you're probably not in as much of a calorie deficit as you think you are, or you need to increase your calorie deficit. And the thing is, you believe them when they say this because you're thinking about that time last week that you snuck out for some nachos and a beer with friends, and then there was that bakery cookie or perhaps the donut that you snagged off the table at work. So now you vow to be even more strict about your diet and maybe even shave off a few extra calories just to make sure you're staying on track. So there are two whopping problems with this approach. And the first is that in most cases, cutting your calories is absolutely the last thing that you need to do. And once we go through this, you're gonna see that your deficit actually needs to be much smaller than you ever thought that it did. And you should be seeing that the larger your deficit, the less weight you're ultimately going to end up losing. Okay, so let's take a look. So there's a minimum number of calories that your individual body needs in order to complete its basic functioning. Things like breathing or basic movements or brain function. So this number is your basal metabolic rate or your BMR, and you find out what that number is for your unique body by using this formula right here. And the thing is, most of us are doing more than just shuffling around and existing. I mean, sometimes it doesn't feel like that, but it's true. So to figure out the totality of our energy expenditure per day, we need to multiply our BMR by a subjective activity level multiplier. And this number should give us our total daily energy expenditure, or TDEE. Best thing to do here is sort of run with this number for a while to test its accuracy for your individual body, because as I said, the activity multipliers tend to be subjective, and sometimes we either think that we're maybe more or less active than we actually are. So test the number for a couple of weeks, see what your weight does in the interim, and then adjust as needed. And of course, the best advice is always to talk to a nutritionist or a registered dietitian. So once you've done your calculations and you think you're within a reasonable level of accuracy, if your goal is fat loss, then the next thing you're going to want to do is calculate your deficit. Now here's the really mind-blowing part. A moderate 10% deficit should help you to achieve roughly half a pound to a pound of fat loss per week. That's just 10%. So if your maintenance calories fall, for example, around 2,100 calories per day, 10% of that number is just 210 calories. Here's what 210 calories would look like in my diet. Talking about 28 grams of M&Ms, which is about 1/8 of a cup, and would mathematically work out to be about a teaspoon less of my daily peanut butter. Now that doesn't seem like much of a cut at all, does it? But it is. And the beauty of it is that because you don't feel deprived or especially hungry throughout the week, you're less likely to find yourself engaging in binge sessions on the weekends, trying to pack in all of the things that you've been denying yourself for the last 7 days. Okay, so if you're with me this far, then the next question you might have is, okay, but then mathematically speaking, if I have a greater deficit, then wouldn't that result in greater fat loss? And mathematically speaking, yes, but your body has something to say about that. Your body is really, really smart, okay? And the way that it can adapt to protect itself, it can be pretty intense. So to illustrate this, let's take the example of the 1,500 calorie a day diet, which, shocking as it sounds, I have heard so-called nutritionists recommend this for adult women. So if we stick with the example from earlier of somebody whose maintenance calories are 2,100 per day, and you are now feeding that body 1,500 calories per day, you're talking about a 600 calorie deficit, which is about 30%. So what you'd expect to happen based on the math is that that body would expend 2,100 calories worth of energy on only 1,500 calories worth of input, resulting in that 600 calorie deficit and the associated fat loss. But what actually happens is the body will stop expending 2,100 calories worth of energy once it realizes that it's only getting 1,500 calories. And here's how this starts to happen. So remember that BMR number that we started with, which in our example was 1,400 calories a day to perform basic daily bodily functions. Once the body realizes that it is not getting enough energy input to cover those basic functions and all of the extra daily energy expenditure activities that you're doing, it will find a way to perform all of those basic functions for fewer calories. So for example, let's say your body figures out how to do all of those things for now 1,200 calories instead of 1,400 calories. Now remember, your BMR number rolls up into your total daily energy expenditure. So now instead of a total daily energy expenditure of 2,100 calories, it's actually only 1,900 calories, which is closing that gap of your deficit from 600 calories to 400 calories. And what will happen over time is that that gap will continue to close so that your deficit gets smaller and smaller and your weight loss is going to stagnate. And something else to keep in mind here is that you're not only creating a deficit with what you eat or don't eat, your exercise levels are also something that need to be calculated into that deficit. So if your fitness wearable, for instance, is telling you that you're burning 700, 800, 900 move calories a day with your workouts, then you need to factor that in as well. All of this is a really dangerous race to the bottom scenario where you're going to be wreaking havoc on your body, your metabolism, and your overall health. So now that you hopefully understand that it takes a much smaller, more sustainable deficit to achieve your fat loss goals, there's one other thing that we need to address here, and that's whether or not fat loss should be the goal in the first place. When we see other women on Pinterest, on Instagram, on YouTube, who have a physique that we would like to achieve for ourselves, the first thing that we think is, oh my gosh, I need to lose some weight. But the fact is that that's probably not what you need to do at all. It's just that that's the first thing that we think because we have been raised in a society and Western culture that has brought us up to believe that we're fat even when we're not. So if we perceive there's any kind of gap between a physique that we desire and the physique that we have, the automatic cueing is that we need to lose weight. But there's actually a lot more at play there, and I go into detail about some of those things in this video right here. In particular, I talk about the 2 things that I think anybody should prioritize before they set out on a new fitness journey, identifying new fitness goals.